Good morning. How's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Sunday, 11:11 a.m. California time, Sunday, May 4th, 2025. Latest activity shows a 1.7 earthquake across the, looks like San Francisco region. Let's go ahead and check that out real quick because San Francisco has been awfully quiet here with earthquake activity recently. 1.8 earthquake in the last 20 minutes or so. Looks like it's just off the Green Valley Fault Zone to the north, Lake Berryessa area. Aside from that, pretty quiet still across the San Francisco region. I've been watching this closely here because it's been absent of any type of earthquake activity here. So it's rather odd considering all the activity south here recently and the movement up north as well. I'll continue to keep an eye here on the San Francisco Bay Area, as I think something a little bit larger is coming here soon. Southern California, spotty activity at best. Really, let's see, we've got a couple earthquakes after midnight. 2.7 down around the Julian area, and also a 3-pointer further down south of the border area. A handful of earthquakes there in the Baja California region. Got a little bit of swarming going on here throughout the last week. Also, movement along the Imperial Fault. It appears as though we are working our way northward here with migration of pressure. Southern California looking quite active with a lot of microquake activity here today and in the last 24 hours. Also on the San Andreas Fault, a number of earthquakes here showing up. Nothing big yet, but the Malibu area over here still showing some movement. This morning it looks like with a 1.3. Things are starting to pick up here across Southern California today. Continue to watch that. Further up north into the Pacific Northwest, relatively quiet, handful of smaller quakes. Really nothing has changed here since last night. A couple earthquakes out in Texas. Obviously that 5.4. Let's go ahead and check this out here. 5.4 earthquake from last night out in the oil fields outside of Pecos, Texas. There's quite a bit of oil fields in that region. Let me tell you, I know firsthand. I've driven through here numerous times, flew over this area as well. There's, it's pretty much nothing but desert and these oil fields. So there's 5.4, pretty decent earthquake here from yesterday evening. That earthquake was felt fairly broadly across the area into New Mexico as well, all the way up to Amarillo, Texas in the Panhandle. So that's a rather decent size earthquake. Fortunately, there's not a whole lot of population density here across the area. Otherwise, we'd be looking at some damage. But occasionally out in these oil fields, we do get these 5-pointers. So maybe expect some more out here soon. I mean, obviously, there's more than just one location of oil fields, but earthquakes there are going to continue for quite some time. Aftershock, I really don't want to call these aftershock sequences because this area sees a lot of earthquake activity in general. It's the oil fields. It's not fault boundary related. There is some older faults over here, the West Delaware Mountains fault zone, but this really not anything to do with that. This has everything to do with the oil fields out here in the Permian Basin region and this area of Texas. If you look here north of Midland, there's a massive amount of oil fields out here. They're listed all over the map here, and if you look at the satellite view, it's a no-brainer. We got massive amounts of these wastewater ponds and whatnot. So not fault-related, this earthquake activity that we're seeing out in Texas, strictly due to the process involved there. One earthquake there actually two of them, it looks like. Is that Pelsor? I guess that's right. Hopefully, if not, please correct me. Arkansas area, 2.3 and a 2.4. That is off the New Madrid seismic zone, outside of it a little bit, but got a little bit of movement stirring up out here, it looks like. Bring back the terrain map, so just kind of watch that. Got some decent movement here around the New Madrid seismic zone recently. A lot of smaller quakes here. Look at this. Last 30 days, got about 20 earthquakes of various magnitudes. Quite a few 2s and 1s in there. Seems like when things start shifting around here across the North American plate, got to watch these other intraplate boundaries. Yellowstone National Park, I do want to double check that here real quick. I skipped over it, but with everything else going on, you never know. We could see some swarms here. I don't see anything specific there at Yellowstone. The seismograph reading from that 5.4 down in Texas is fairly evident here on the chart. Beautiful signal. Parker Peak, Lake Butte, the promontory, all picking up that 5.4 earthquake in Texas from last night. Really not a whole lot of local seismic activity, though, for now. Also some movement down here across the Caribbean. Decent sized quake here, 5.6 earthquake outside the U.S. Virgin Islands region. That is awfully close here to the Puerto Rico Trench. And got a decent amount of earthquake activity, 5.6, 12 miles deep here. A couple other earthquakes here in the last hour as well. Keep an eye here on the subduction zones. Been quite active out here. Of course, got the Mariottos Trough here down south as well. That's a major player in producing large earthquakes. It's getting squeezed, so to speak. And I think all this elevated activity here that we're seeing across the North American plate is a result of the activity from that movement down south here. It tends to make sense. Let me show you guys the general plate stress movement. And South America plate, right, as a whole, that includes the portion of the ocean out here, is moving off to the north-northwest. Caribbean plate right here in the middle between the North American and the South American plate. When things happen down south here, it tends to put strain further upstream. I was watching the Peru-Chile Trench here, but may have looked like it jumped over this area and applied further strain much further to the north here on the North American plate boundaries, including the Caribbean plate. So we'll watch that. There's still quite a bit of activity stirring up down south into this fracture boundary where that seven pointer struck here. Total tally, let's go ahead and check out the, at least as far as the ones USGS is reporting. I'm sure there's a number of smaller quakes. But looks like about 51 earthquakes, including that 7.4. Largest aftershock is 6.4, and a number of 5s in there as well. Bunch of 4s and a bunch of 3s. Got to remember, for every, actually they're not even showing the 3s, but I guarantee you there's probably twice as many 3s as there are 4s on here. That's just how the sequence of events normally work during a large earthquake event. But it looks like today, a couple more earthquakes in the 4 range. Quite a few, actually. Got 5 of them. So still seeing some aftershock sequences there. Let's see what we got for movement here around the Peru-Chile Trench. A couple earthquakes this morning as well. 4.4, 4.6, 4.5 along the Peru-Chile Trench. A couple just outside the Santiago, Chile region there. I got a pretty good cluster going on there just outside of Santiago, Chile. Definitely quite active out here on this side of the globe today. I'll keep an eye on the Caribbean plate areas upstream there. That includes California, New Zealand, Fiji area, Tonga Trench, all pretty quiet. Some older movement here from yesterday. Really nothing new to report. Looks like maybe one earthquake just around outside the Solomon Islands region for a 5.1. Aside from that, typical clustering going on here through the Philippines north. Japan, still watching this area. Got a lot of earthquake activity here recently, putting the strain up against the Nankai Trough. Quite a bit of earthquakes here, some deeper and shallow adjustment. General plate stress here, if you look on the GPS map, puts the Filipino plate here in kind of the red color, and the Pacific plate reinforcing that strain right up against the Eurasia plate. That includes this region around Japan, the Nankai Trough. So we'll continue to watch that. It's been on my list here of seeing some major movement for quite a while. Same with the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. That's another major subduction zone. That's just a matter of time before that thing ruptures. 4.1, fairly deep into that subduction zone. Looks like earlier this morning as well. And the Alaska region, a couple 4s from yesterday, some from today maybe, but really nothing big. I was just looking at the Mount Spur volcano activity out there. No major changes to report there. This is the current activity update from yesterday. Nothing unusual has been observed at all. Just occasional small earthquake swarms and you got that weak steaming up at the summit area. But looking at the Webby corridor here, pretty quiet. Not really seeing a whole lot of localized earthquake activity. If they are extremely light and really not even showing up there on the graph. So really nothing new to report there for that volcano. Let's see here. What else we got? Quick check at the Hawaii volcano. We're over here to the Kilauea Volcano website from the USGS right here, and should still be on the inflation side, right? We're still going up a little bit. Here's the last eruption back on the, I think it was at the end of the day 1 there, 1st of May. Short-lived eruption. I think it was about 8 hours or so. Now we're going back up slowly but surely. And that should continue the previous 19 trends, right? We had 19 episodes of rinse and repeat, right? Where we just get some inflation, eruption, inflation. So here in a couple days, we should see that return back to an eruption stage. But really nothing out of the norm there. It's pretty crazy how it's been in these sequence of events like that. That's better than building up a whole bunch of pressure below. Let's see what else we got here. Northern California real quick. Let me see what we got here. Kind of skipped over this. One more earthquake at the extreme southern end of the Cascadia megathrust area. That's a 2.6, 14 miles deep into it. There was one here in the last week as well, a little bit further upstream. But yeah, nothing big going on there for now, but it's an area to watch, obviously. All right, what else we got? The Atlantic Ocean, pretty quiet. One earthquake here in Greece. That looks like it's around the... Wow, all right. Looks like it's around the Santorini area, so we better go double-check that. See what we got from the Santorini, Greece area. If you guys remember, that's been an area of some decent swarming here recently. Let's go ahead and check this out. Got about 100 events. The number's going down here, but... That's a decent-sized earthquake today, 4.3, right outside the Santorini, Greece volcano area here. That's more around the swarming region to the northeast. Nothing of out of the norm. I mean, that's just kind of a larger quake. In this sequence of events, it's mainly been some 2s and 3s, about 10 kilometers deep there. Let's go ahead and see what we got for the... geophysics website here. Are we working? There's a couple of those earthquakes. Geophysics. We'll go check out the site here real quick that shows the recorded views of the seismograph stations here. We'll check out center area of Santorini. Yeah, there's a 4-pointer quite nicely showing up there on the graph, so we'll see what happens. I mean, this is very small activity in terms of the multitude of counts here, but that 4.3 is a decent earthquake. That could trigger some further swarming out there over the last 2 to 3 months here. It's been an area that has probably seen, I'm guessing, maybe 20,000 earthquakes now. I'd like to get a total count, but I'm not for sure how I would go about doing that. But for a while, we were looking at 500 to 1,000 earthquakes per day in this area of the Santorini, Greece region. And a lot of folks, including myself, think it's some type of magma intrusion there that sometimes takes time to go through the process. But we didn't see any eruption. We didn't have any big earthquake activity, just thousands upon thousands of earthquakes there just outside the Santorini, Greece area. That's a decent little shaker there for that 4.3 this morning. We'll continue to keep an eye on that massive area of a sunspot up here, 4079. I believe this is about half the size of the Carrington event sunspot. That was a lot bigger and a lot more complex in terms of magnetic structure. 4079 here. Definitely a visible spot. Let's take a look here at the magnetogram image this morning, and man, hard to say. I don't see anything changing overnight. In fact, if anything, let's see, maybe a little bit back over here, noticing a little bit more color changes, but maybe up here as well. And maybe going into a little stage there where it could pop off a decent sized flare. Got to watch this solar flare detection chart as well, called the GOES X-ray flux chart. If these things start getting spiky, right, those are the flare detection, and starts increasing there in a stair-stepping ladder event, well, then that could mean that we're looking at an impending stronger flare. It's starting to kick up a little bit here this morning, and I think that is mainly because of that region showing a little bit of growth. But we'll watch this here. It is almost directly in Earth, perfect Earth location here. As far as blasting anything off, I think it'd be dead center, So, if any major flare does blast off from here, geo-effectiveness will be 100% certain. That is, if we can get a solar flare along with a CME. Right now, it's just sitting there, not doing a lot of anything. But looks definitely quite photogenic, so to speak. Overall flare threat right now shows a 5% chance for X flare, M flare at 35% chance. Again, we got to watch that, see if it gains any magnetic complexity. Another new sunspot over here, 4082. That area starting to grow a little bit. I'm noticing the growth overnight from this image to the previous image here. So that's another new sunspot. Let's just hope, that maybe they'll kick up a little bit here, get some stronger solar flares in the Earth-directed view. No major auroras there in the forecast for now. Shows 4079 beta gamma stable. All right, as far as any close approach asteroids here, the next 5 asteroid approaches. See if it's going to work here. Maybe. There we go. Got a couple asteroids here today. But look at that. Millions of miles away for these. Except for this one here, 77-foot asteroid. Airplane size. That's coming in tomorrow. Or when is that? That's going to be Tuesday, May 6th. Newly discovered. All right, Storm Prediction Center here for the severe weather outlook. Got slight risk for some severe weather. Seen Reed Timmer heading down there in the Dominator to chase some potential tornado activity there today. Only at 2%, but New Mexico here tends to get those supercells going quite nicely. So watch for some tornado activity, wind, and some hail threats out there across mainly eastern New Mexico and into portions of Texas as well. That's for today's severe weather outlook. Tomorrow, roughly about the same here, maybe a little bit further eastward, heading back into Texas. I know this area in extreme western Texas needs some rain. I don't know about the rest of Texas here. I was out here last week, and man, I don't know if that ground can handle any more precipitation out there. They've been doing pretty good as far as their rainfall goes. Let's see. Look at the seismograph stations here. Looks pretty calm for now. We'll continue to watch things out here today. See what happens. Definitely a noticeable uptick here across the Caribbean plate, North American plate as well. Southern California, more active today than it was yesterday for sure. Nothing big, but I'm just looking at the counts here. There's a lot more elevated counts of earthquakes out here. 45 earthquakes, mainly smaller microquake activity, but there's still earthquakes out here. That's a sign that we've got some movement going on. Looks like maybe they added another quake here onto the map around the Malibu area. I don't think that was there just a minute ago. So there's a couple earthquakes around the Malibu Coast Fault, some movement outside of Anaheim. Just kind of keep an eye on things here today, see what happens. I'll catch you guys a little bit later. Quite windy out here in Northern California right now. The dreaded north wind came in and drying things out. Got dew points down here in the, let's see, what are they? Well, this is Tuesday. I'm going to go up here this afternoon. And pretty dry. Super dry dew point levels, 31. And that's going to warm things up out here. Upper 70s, and tomorrow we're in the mid and upper 80s. And in fact, coming up next week here, it looks like we'll be close to 100 or so. I don't remember exactly what day that is, but it's gonna be hot. I'm surprised we haven't hit 100 already, but May can be a super hot month for us. All right, I think that's about it, folks. We'll catch you guys out here later unless something major happens. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe out there.